Yeah, I mean, so I'm first gen, Latino that's from SoCal, and I've moved around a lot. But so I've been in LA for 10 years, and it's the longest I've ever lived in one place, and it very much feels like home, which is I think a lot of what attracted me to this this series and this issue is that it's a, Boyle Heights is a community that's like so proud of their community and where they're from, and that's something that I don't think I ever really had. Because I like to I'd like to talk a lot of shit about Bakersfield because it's hot and there's like nothing to do after 10 and it's hot, like But but because I moved so much, like I don't think I ever felt that. I don't have that I don't have those deep roots, and I don't think I ever really had that feeling of like this place really truly feels like home, especially because Bakersfield is very divided between the the class and the race. It's very conservative. It's Trump country, and Boyle Heights is like just so goddamn Chicano and Mexican and like through and through, and it's just so beautiful, and I like loved it because it was the first time that I ever went somewhere, and I felt like I was like, holy shit, this place feels like me. And yeah, so I mean, this series is really just kind of a love letter to that and to the La Gente and to my identity.
What does Gente-Fied mean?
So Gente-Fied is a term that was coined in Boyle Heights. It's obviously a play on gentrification or gentrified. It's the idea of it being that instead of the outside community or outside developers coming in and buying up everything and displacing everybody, the la gente, the people of the community, should be the ones to open new businesses and keep the culture alive. And but it still kind of causes some issues. It causes some displacement, and there's a lot of division in the community over how best to fight gentrification because everybody wants to like protect what they have there, um, and also not get kicked out of their homes. And so Gentefied, it's well, that's what that means. And it's such a kind of, as an outsider to us, it seemed like such a gray area because like for us, I see it. I'm like, everybody's right. Like I understand that conflict in identity. That's like identity. That's the conflict that I've had my entire life of like not feeling Mexican enough or American enough. Like I saw it and I was like, oh, like that's so crazy that there's business owners that are trying to open up businesses where they're from, their home, their community, and but there's problems with that, and it's just like, well, shit, like if I can't open a business where I'm from, like in my home, then where the hell do I belong?
Casting?
Yeah, with casting. I mean, with casting, we went into casting, and I told my casting director, I was like, don't show me anybody that isn't Mexican. And then, eventually we had to open that up because it becomes so difficult. I realized that there's a lot of great actors out there, but you're trying to get the right person for the role, like somebody that's gonna really like deliver like the essence of the role. And so there's a few Puerto Ricans in this thing, and like at first I was like, I really didn't want to do that because like that was one of those things that I hate seeing all the time, and I had to learn like through this that I was just like, oh, like that shit's hard. Like it's hard to do that, and like I want to keep pushing. Uh, Now I know I'm like, okay, like I think it needs more time. Like if I want to keep being that like persistent about it, like then it needs more time. Like I didn't realize that how hard that would be. I mean, to be honest, I went into this thinking I was like, are there even enough Latino actors like for this? Because we have a cast of like 50 different characters. It's a huge for a web series. It was ginormous. Like I didn't. Linda and I didn't stop to think about it, but once we counted, we're like, oh, whoops! Like, oh my god, that's a lot. Like, are we gonna be able to pull this off? And I, before this, I'd only done one other film that starred like a Latina cast, but it was like only 5 people, and I was worried. I was like, is there enough Latino talent out there? And there was. I mean, they show up, man. They're out there, and like I was like, this process for me taught me like it showed me that I was like that. It showed me that there's so many out there, and I was like, why am I not seeing them? I'm like, oh, it's because they're always being cast on these shows that I don't like to watch because it's just about cartels and it's about the border, like drug deals and all of that stuff that I don't like watching because it bugs me because it's just a bunch of stereotypes. And I was like, oh, that's why I don't see them as often, because they're not in the stuff that I like to watch all the time. Um, and and so it really opened my eyes to just kind of the wealth of talent that's out there. Pero también to be able to capture, I think that we did the best with it. Like, I think most of the Puerto Ricans we cast were the younger ones, and then the the older because we wanted to get like authentic, Mexicans from Mexico. I didn't want like Americans putting on fake Mexican accents, and that was a lot easier to cast because there's so many great Mexican actors out in LA, and um, but to find younger Chicanos, like that's something that, and I realized I was like, oh, there's not a lot of us in acting because we don't. The arts is not something that we chase. Like it's harder for us to go into that, and so that became a challenge. Being able to find Chicano actors or being able to find just first gen Mexican Americans or people that felt like that understood their roots. It was a challenge because we aren't really pushed into, or not pushed into, but supported in going into those arts, into chasing those kinds of dreams.
So talk about basically, well, like a two part question. So your collaboration with America Ferrera and how you got into Sundance.
Okay. Yeah, America, she became involved right before we went into production. Like, basically, she had a meeting with Macro, who was the production company behind this, and then helped develop the whole project. And they told her about Gente-Fied, and she was like interested in that, and she read all the scripts and she loved them, and she reached out, and I wrote her a letter and asked her, I'm like, can you please be involved in this? Can you please come on board? And like, I offered her a role in one of the episodes, and she said yes, like, thank God. And and so because she just believed in it, and she told me that, like, she was just so, she felt like it was just so authentic, and something that, like, she kind of hadn't really read before, and wanted to be involved and to help us with however she could. And so she came on board as our executive producer. It was like so, like, in the nick of time, because we were in the middle of production, and she finally, like, confirmed everything, and we were able to, like, get her in on the shoot, get her in for the day of the shoot that she was supposed to be there. And it was very close, but it finally happened and came through. And she was just such a great collaborator, and, like, going into post, like, it would have been amazing, like, if we had been able to, like, include her for, like, even earlier in the process. But, like, even though she came in, like, right before production, like, she contributed so much and helped us really keep it authentic, and helped us navigate this from her perspective of being such a professional, doing this for so long, and being in this industry for a long time. And it's been such an amazing honor to be able to have her really advocating for me and Linda, and our, like, as fresh babies in this industry. And yeah, and getting into Sundance, I mean, Macro has, me and Macro, like, we knew about, like, last year Sundance premiered a film festival, last year Sundance premiered a web series that from Refinery 29, and we were like, we need to be in there next year, like, we have to make that happen. And luckily they opened it up this year to short form episodics, and we submitted and we got in. So it was kind of, yeah, we were, we kept our, we had them on our radar, knowing that they were moving into showcasing short form content like this. And it was awesome, because I feel like this is really where, like, this is indie, like, this is like the indie of it all now. And it's great that they are just pushing and expanding their reach to where the artists are going.